Hey world! The highest rated moderator module suggestion as to what I should vlog about today came from YouTube username DOMG Productions, who says you should talk about 4 paradoxes that you find the most interesting. That would be cool. I agree, that would be cool, so I'm gonna do it, but before I do it, let me just say thank you, DOMG Productions, for that suggestion, and thank you to everyone who voted for anything in the moderator module. I'm gonna do this again. I'm gonna have another moderator module, and I'm gonna let you decide what not my next video topic should be, but my video after my next video. Does that make sense? First, the Monty Hall problem. Monty Hall hosted a game show called Let's Make a Deal, where all sorts of crazy things happened, but one of the crazy things that happened was you'd have a contestant come up and there would be 3 doors. Door number 1, door number 2, and door number 3. Behind one of those doors would be a brand new shiny car, and behind the other 2 would be goats. The contestant would pick a door, and then Monty Hall would open up one of the other doors and always reveal a goat. The contestant was then given the opportunity to switch doors, and herein lies the logical puzzle. Is it advantageous to switch doors, or is it more advantageous to stick with your guns? Most people, when confronted with this puzzle, think, well, it doesn't really matter, does it? Don't I have a 50-50 shot either way? But no, you don't. That's not true. Our brains just aren't wired to think about this right. Let's say that these balls represent the doors. The yellow ball is the one that the contestant initially goes with, and these are the 2 that the contestant doesn't. Now, let's think of these balls in terms of sets. This is a set of 1. It has a 1 in 3 chance of being correct. This is a set of 2, has a 2 in 3 chance of being correct. So you pick this one, Monty Hall reveals that that one had a goat behind it. The green set still has a 2 in 3 chance of winning, where this only has a 1 in 3 chance of winning, so it is advantageous to switch. I know that may not make intuitive sense, but trust me, that is the way that it is. Now, the Monty Hall problem is a fairly well-known logical puzzle. A lot of you have probably heard of it before, so I wouldn't have included it in this video except for an article I read not too long ago that said that pigeons perform better at the Monty Hall problem than humans do. I just thought that was funny. So you were on Let's Make a Deal, and let's say that you were smarter than a pigeon. You switched doors and you won that car, and you loved that car because not only did it remind you of the fantastic experience of being on Let's Make a Deal, but also it was just a damn good car. You want this car to live forever. So you make a conscious decision to replace every single component part of the car when that part is just halfway through its usable life. You replace the tires, you replace the engine, you replace the body, the transmission, the brakes, everything on this car gets replaced. Understand though, this is happening gradually, one part at a time, over time. Oh, and I forgot to mention, when you won the car, you named it Gus. And you love Gus, but we've already established that. So a few years down the road, you have replaced every single component part of Gus. But being the frugal son of a bitch you are, you didn't just throw away the original parts, you kept them in a storage unit. You didn't know what you were gonna do with them, you thought maybe you were just gonna sell them. But on a whim, once you realized you had all the parts of the car in there, you decided that you reassemble it, make another car. So you do. You make a weekend project out of it, you put another car together, and you're real pleased with yourself. You head inside, and then you look out at the 2 cars sitting in your driveway, and you find yourself struck by a powerful emotion. Not so much sadness as it is just confusion. Because, I mean, which car is the real Gus? Is Gus the car that has grown and evolved as you have grown and evolved? Or is Gus the car that consists of all the original parts that Gus consisted of when you first got Gus? I mean, this is called the ship of Theseus, or grandfather's axe paradox. I'll put a link to that about that below. Ultimately, you decide whatever, doesn't matter, they're both Gus. But having been away from original component part Gus for so long, you decide, I want to take this Gus on a road trip. And not just any old road trip either. You decide that you want to take Gus along the entire coastline of California, but not just the coastal highway, but the actual literal physical coastline. So you get Gus fitted to go off-roading, and then you hire someone. You have lots of expendable money, by the way. We've already established, you know, you're very frugal, you have been, so lots of money saved up. You hire someone to actually measure California's actual literal physical coastline. So they go, they measure, they come back, and they inform you very unexpectedly that California's coastline is 1 million miles long. You did not budget for a trip of that length, and it dawns on you that you're not going to be able to go. All of your hopes and dreams have been crushed. You have nothing left to live for. So in your despair, instead of going on a road trip, you go on a road rage trip to the downtown of your city, and you run over 50 people. You kill 18 of them and you injure 32. Inevitably, you get caught, you get locked up, and as you're waiting to go to trial, the guy you hired to measure California's coastline comes to visit, and you have a nice long conversation. As it turns out, the guy wasn't measuring the coastline on the scale of, say, kilometers or meters. No, he was measuring on the scale of nanometers. He was using an electron microscope. And I mean, props to him, because that's not easy to do on a beach. Technically, his measurement was correct. But that's only because of the coastline paradox. No coastline really has a clearly defined length because coastlines are all fractals. What length you come up with just depends on what scale you're measuring them on. If that doesn't make sense, there's a link below. Anyway, you're in jail. It comes time for your trial, the jury finds you guilty, and the judge sentences you to death. Not only do you receive a death sentence, though, you receive a particularly sadistic death sentence. The judge sentences you to a surprise hanging. He says you're going to be hung at noon on a weekday in the upcoming week, but he wants it to be a surprise, so you're not going to know which day is your day to die until the executioner knocks on your cell door at 11:45 a.m. whatever day he decides. And at first, you're like, holy shit, I'm gonna die. But then you think about your sentence a little bit and you realize that if the hanging is gonna be a surprise, it obviously can't happen on Friday, because if you haven't been hung by Thursday, then, well, I mean, Friday's not a surprise. And then having eliminated Friday, you say, well, it can't happen on Thursday either, because if I haven't been hung by Wednesday, then, you know, it's not gonna be a surprise then. And so you continue to reason like that, eliminating every day until you realize, well, hey, I guess I'm not gonna be hung after all. And then at 11:45 on Wednesday, the executioner knocks on your cell door, takes you and hangs you, and everything the judge said came true. That's called the unexpected hanging paradox. Also, you're dead. If you like what you just saw, if Dan put you in a state of awe, subscribe to him and click the orange button. It really, 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 really means something. If you do that, that'd be really cool.